Procter & Gamble's annual shareholders meeting was held last week. CEO Bob McDonald got about 20 seconds of polite applause when he articulated a strategy for restoring growth, improving productivity, and increasing shareholder value. McDonald said a continued focus on P&G's 40-20-10 plan will lead to better results for shareholders. That plan calls for P&G to focus on its biggest, most profitable business segments, improve innovation, and increase productivity. The company has faced increased investor criticism because its stock performance has lagged behind peer companies, and P&G has lost share in some of its key markets. McDonald says, "We're holding our own feet to the fire. We're doing everything we can to deliver this plan. If we do that, we expect shareholder return to increase." P&G shareholders have a big reason to root for Republicans in this next election. GOP lawmakers are seen as more likely to grant a tax holiday for repatriated corporate profits. That could mean billions in tax savings for Cincinnati-based consumer products P&G. In fact, soon-to-be republished research shows P&G is among the U.S. companies that stand to gain the most from tax law changes that encourage large multinational corporations to bring overseas profits back to America. Business Courier senior reporter Dan Monk wrote this story in the print edition. He is joined by the editor of the Business Courier, Rob Dahlmeyer. Gentlemen.
Brian, thanks, and Dan, thanks for being here. It's a kind of a complicated issue on the face of it, but really not so much. P&G, like a lot of giant companies that do business overseas, are sitting on big piles of cash all the time overseas. What could happen, or why is this in the news right now, and why are we talking about P&G in this way?
Well, what could happen is that P&G has $39 billion in foreign profits that they've accumulated by competing in 180 countries all over the world. And what P&G and other multinationals face is that if they bring the money back to the U.S., they're subject to the 35% corporate tax rate here in the U.S. So you've heard candidates, Barack Obama and Mitt Romney, both talk about reducing the corporate tax rate in the U.S., which is seen as much higher than the rest of the world. And there's also talk of this tax holiday that would allow companies to bring their foreign profits home at a lesser tax rate. Now, for P&G, 35% of $39 billion is $13 billion. So theoretically, it could be a huge tax savings. And the last time repatriation happened, there was a tax holiday in 2004. P&G brought $10 billion home. They spent most of the money on share repurchases.
Now, some people, though, say that this money that essentially doesn't fall into their laps, but it's not money that they necessarily thought they were going to get.
Yep.
Does it create jobs? Do we know if it creates jobs?
There's been a lot of research on that topic, and the answer is probably no, it doesn't. Most companies use it to pay dividends or to buy back shares. They just use it as excess cash. But there are people who make this argument that once the money comes back to the U.S., it could be used to invest in U.S. operations. And Obama's plan includes some incentives in order to give companies bigger breaks if they actually invest in the U.S.
One of those cases where the candidates do have very clearly defined differing positions on this, so we'll have to see what happens next month.
Indeed.
Dan, thanks for being here. Brian, to you.
All right, Rob and Dan, thank you.